Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Transcendental knowledge, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Text 19. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjita jnanagni dagdha karmanam tam ahu panditam buddha. One is understood to be in full knowledge whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Purport: only a person in full knowledge can understand the activities of a person in Krishna consciousness. Because a person in Krishna consciousness is devoid of all kinds of sense gratificatory propensities, it is to be understood that he has burned up the reactions of his work by perfect knowledge of his constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is actually learned who has attained to such perfection of knowledge. Development of this knowledge of eternal servitorship to the Lord is compared to fire. Such a fire, once kindled, can burn up all kinds of reactions to work. Text 20. Yakta karma falasangam nitya tripto nirasaya karmani abhipavitro pi naiva kinchit karoti sa. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Purport: this freedom from the bondage of actions is possible only in Krishna consciousness. When one is doing Krishna, a Krishna conscious person acts out of pure love for the Supreme Personality of God, and therefore he has no attraction for the results of the action. He is not even attached to his personal maintenance, for everything is left to Krishna, nor is he anxious to secure things, nor to protect things already in his possession. He does his duty to the best of his ability and leaves everything to Krishna. Such an unattached person is always free from the resultant reactions of good and bad. It is as though he were not doing anything. This is a sign of akarma or actions without fruitive reactions. Any other action, therefore devoid of Krishna consciousness, is binding upon the worker, and that is the real aspect of bikarma as explained herein before. Text 21. Nirasir yata sitatma titasa parigraha sariram kevalam karma kuvam napnoti ki kilbisam. Such a man of understanding, with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Purport: a Krishna conscious person does not expect good or bad results in his activities. His mind and intelligence are fully controlled. He knows that because he is part and parcel of the Supreme, the part played by him as a part and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but is only being done through him by the Supreme. When the hand moves, it does not move out of its own accord, but by the endeavor of the whole body. A Krishna conscious person is always dovetailed with the supreme desire, for he has no desire for personal sense gratification. He moves exactly like a part of a machine. As a machine part requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, so a Krishna conscious person maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for action in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He is therefore immune to all reactions of his endeavors. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession, yet the animal does not protest, nor does it have any real independence. A Krishna conscious person engaged fully in self-realization has very little time to falsely possess any material object. For maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair means of accumulating money. He does not, however, become contaminated by such material sins. He is free from all reactions to his actions. Text 22. Yadricha labha santusta vatito vimatsara samasiddhava asiddhau ka kritvapi na nibhaddate. He who is satisfied with gain, who comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Purport: a Krishna conscious person does not make much endeavor even to maintain his body. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He neither begs nor borrows, but he labors honestly as far as in his own power, and is satisfied with whatever is obtained by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. The duality of the material world is felt in terms of heat or cold, or misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is above duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady both in success and in failure. These signs are visible when one is fully in transcendental knowledge. Text 23. Gata sangyasya muktasya jnana vasthita setasa yagna yakaraka yakarata karma samagram praviliyate. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Purport: becoming fully Krishna conscious, one is free from all dualities and thus is free from contaminations of the material modes. He can become liberated because he knows his constitutional position in relationship with Krishna Vishnu, and thus his mind cannot be drawn from Krishna consciousness. Consequently, for whatever he does for Krishna, who is the primeval Vishnu. Therefore, all his works are technically sacrifice, because sacrifice aims at satisfying the Supreme Person, Vishnu, Krishna. The resultant actions to his work certainly merge in transcendence, and one does not suffer material effects. Text 24. Brahma Panam, Brahma Havir, Brahma Gno, Brahma Nahutam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantyabba, Brahma Ka Karma Samadhima. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his own full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities of Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in the following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. A conditioned soul entangled in material contamination is sure to act in the material atmosphere, yet he has to get out of such an environment. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of the material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. For example, a patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curds. The material absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness, as set forth here in the Gita. This process is generally known as yagna, or activities, sacrifices simply meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. The word Brahman means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual, and the rays of his transcendental body are called Brahma Jyoti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama